Right, another wonderful episode of Talent Takeover Unfiltered with Sean, the CEO of Recruit CRM. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello.
Sean.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We're happy to have you on the show. Thanks for making some time.
Welcome to Talent Takeover
Unfiltered.
When it comes to working hard and keeping it real, we know our shit. Self-care, happiness, inner peace, and time. I'm Brianna Rooney, and this is Taylor Bradley.
Hey, y'all.
And we have thrived in chaos and turned it into an art form. So, Taylor, what are we doing here today?
We're here to give you a raw, under-the-hood view of all things recruiting and finally give credit where credit is due to a long underrated industry that's full of quote-unquote experts.
All right. Well, then let's take this show to the road. All right. Before we dig in, I just want to take a quick thank you to our sponsor who has been helping thousands of recruiters automate and simplify recruitment. Finally, say hello to Recruit CRM, currently trusted by recruitment agencies across 80 countries globally, which is crazy. They have the highest rated recruitment software across all review boards, which is really unheard of. Goodbye, Bullhorn. It's easy to use, intuitive ATS and CRM that lets you automate all those manual tasks. I know recruiters hate admin work and we're all about getting results. This helps you get that. So if you're juggling between interviews to schedule, candidates to screen, resumes to ping, all those things, we definitely recommend that you use Recruit CRM for sure. Let the system do the heavy lifting and save time for better things in life, which is making money. So to learn more about this amazing ATS and CRM, check out recruitcrm.io and you can start a free trial or book a demo with one of their executives whenever you're ready. So head on to recruitcrm.io today.
Sean, we want to know all about you, but we definitely want to talk about the company that you're obviously CEO for, Recruit CRM. So tell us about Recruit CRM.
Sure. And my personal story and the story of Recruit CRM is very, very intertwined, right? So it's I think you might not know this, but I started Recruit CRM with my dad 5.5 years ago. We're a family-run software company.
Oh my God, very cool.
In the world of SaaS, right? Very few father and son multi-million-dollar software companies bootstrapped out there. So fun. So to walk you through our story is pretty fun. So since the time I was about 4 years old, my dad worked for a recruiting and staffing company called Randstad, which is a Dutch staffing and recruitment company, largest on the planet by market cap and value, like revenue. Dad was their India country manager, so he ran their business in India. And so from the time I was in diapers through high school, he basically grew Randstad's business in India from 90 people to 2,400 consultants, 100,000 contractors, because they do everything in India. They do executive retained searches, contingent recruitment, and contract. And so that's where our deep staffing and recruitment background comes in. That is also what helped my dad pay for my overpriced American college education.
Very overpriced.
Yeah. So I was shipped off to college after 12th grade to Bloomington, Indiana. I went to Indiana University there. Went to the business school, which was the Kelley School of Business. Graduated in 2.5 years. Got lucky. I started a little startup there in the B2C space. We were trying to do hyper-local commerce for people to buy video games from each other to try to replace GameStop.
Cool. Yeah.
It seemed like a cool idea back then. We got a couple $100,000 of angel money, which was crazy considering we were 19 at the time. So graduated in 2.5 years, moved to San Francisco. And then the platform didn't take off, and 200K burns pretty quickly in San Francisco when you have three co-founders and you're trying to run ads and make things work. Right around that time, I was always talking to Dad, and we always wanted to do something together long term. And I knew tech, and he knew staffing and recruitment. So we were like, let's build technology for staffing and recruitment firms, because he used a lot of the products, and he was like, there's nothing great here. So we set up a company in Delaware in the US. I moved to India. Dad put in about $80,000. So, I still use Daddy's money in that.
It's like a Clueless episode.
Yeah. He put in about $80,000 total investment over a period of time, not all upfront, over 2 years to get this started. Dad owns 2/3 the company. I own 1/3. So it's my dad and mom that own 1/3 each, between 1/3 and 1/3. So 2/3, and I own 1/3. And we hired 3 developers, and we got started in India. Development talent was cheaper, and we also hired people right out of college from lower ranked schools who would except working for us, right? And that's how we got started. We signed up our first customer who found us online on a blog. Today we serve a little over 1,000 customers in 81 countries. And we're on a run rate doing a little over 4 million in revenue, US dollars. And we've not raised any money since then, and we have $1 million in the bank from cash flows that have been generated.
Can we just clap for for a second? Like,
boom, boom. Right.
That is a boom.
Look where Daddy's money got you. Don't sell yourself short there. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So you can never forget that you come from a place of privilege to be able to even do that. But we have been a lot more successful than most people that have put 80,000 into their business within sub 5 years. Right?
Absolutely.
And so that's where we're at. We're a little over 100 people now, and we're hiring globally.
That's incredible. So I have said, I've been in the recruiting business for like 14 years, and building an applicant tracking system has been a dream of mine. And because you're right, it's not done by a recruiter until now. That makes me so happy to hear that finally a recruiter has built an ATS. There's other ATSs where it's like, we shadowed recruiters for 90 days. It's like, what? No, you don't know the challenges. There's so many challenges. I love that. I love that you two teamed up, because the reason why I personally didn't go down that route was like, well, I'm not a coder. I don't know tech. Like, it would have been a nightmare for me to grasp that. So the trust that you have as father and son, and, you know, one owning each specialty is huge. That's awesome. Love that.
Wait, you don't know tech, Brianna?
What? Tech recruiter.
What's the difference?
When I have a tech problem, I restart my computer.
That's a very different skill set, right? Being a tech recruiter, you can be a magical tech recruiter, not knowing how to write "Hello World" on your computer, but just understanding, the different spectrums of recruitment technology. Anyway.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. So what I'm even more excited about to talk to you is about Bullhorn. Again, ATSs are just disasters. I could rip them all apart. And then I ended up going with, at the end, Bullhorn, and my goodness. Well, no, it was a disaster. It's overcomplicated. It's really difficult. And so again, I always said to myself, if I am going to go up against a beast, it's going to be Bullhorn, because they have a lot of market share. So want to know how you have thought to do that, and how you're tackling.
Just so you know, I love Bullhorn, and I love them because of everything you just said. About 26 to 8% of our customers, and about 36% of our revenue is people that cancel Bullhorn and move to us.
Yeah.
At any point
That's
of time,
huge.
we're having multiple. Like this week, we have 3 Bullhorn data migrations running just this week.
Wow.
For people moving from Bullhorn to us. And that's every week throughout the year, 52 weeks a year, right? So I don't dislike the company. They're great. Either someone from their M&A team or someone who works at the private equity fund that owns them has reached out to us every single year.
I would imagine.
2019 to ask us to be part of a larger platform. One of the calls I've actually recorded and shared with my team because we have a laugh about it.
Something you would do, Brianna.
And recorded with consent. Obviously, we have this note taker that joins every call, so we tell people it's being recorded, but we don't put it on the internet.
Hey, I'm not judging you, Sean.
But yeah, so we understand the product and company, and how we think about it is this, right? The largest problem that people that work in recruitment have is a couple things, right? One, most recruitment systems tend to be super complicated because over time, people just keep bolting on new features on them as people ask for features. And so basically, you could have something that looks cool in 2005, and by 2015, it looks like total crap because there have been 200 feature requests, and they basically just added 200 buttons on it to make it look like a spaceship.
Yep.
And the second thing is, the average recruiter, forget technical recruiter, right? There's non-technical recruiters and so on, are not technical at all, right? So in many cases, they're not super comfy with crazy technology, and it's not, you can't just say, okay, sign this contract, wire this money, and here's a login, figure it out. And if you want our help, we're going to charge you $200 an hour to help you. But that doesn't work out, right?
Yeah.
And so what we did, and we leveraged some of the advantages we have, right? So because I'm based in India, I have two things. I have an English-speaking populace, a large number of young people, because we have a pretty favorable population demographic.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that combination, we have cheaper talent at the entry level, right?
Sure.
The compensation difference in India between a fresh, let's say, engineer versus a director of engineering is very different from that in the US, right? There's a 10x compensation differential between someone in year 1 and year 15,
mm-hmm.
which is not the case in the US, right? In an average situation.
Yeah.
So you can hire a lot of these really young, smart people. You can train them in the business of recruitment over 3 months. So we do 3 months of training, and we can give each of our customers very dedicated support. So for the 1,000 accounts we have 21 people in our customer success team.
Wow.
So every 40 customers, or 40 to 50 customers accounts, we have one customer success manager. And that's a lot of humans. So that means when you sign up with us, there's one human who has to spend 4 to 5 hours a month, every month of their entire career, making sure you're successful on our platform.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Which is, and that's only possible with the economics we have. You cannot do that in any other part of the world. So we really, outside of making a simple tool that's easy to use that you can see on the ratings, we've just gone on overdrive in like the free consulting piece where we're like, you're buying our software, you only have 4 people on your team. It's cool. We'll spend 10 hours with you to figure out why you only charge 15% and not 25%. Why are you not doing retained search?
Oh, you get that.
6
You
other
get into
clients
that.
do it.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's that is its own separate game. Do you ever charge? Now I'm thinking about monetization.
No.
I can't help myself. You don't ever charge. You can't even ask like for more help and then you charge, or?
No, it's unlimited help, no matter what, right? No matter the number of seats you have, you get as many hours with us as you want. And there's only so many hours someone wants on live calls, right? It's not like we're giving you free like back office labor. We're giving you free consulting, so you can have as much as you want. And then we also have best practices on like automations, right? So if you run a 20% recruitment agency, every time you get a new job from a client, and in an increasingly remote world, you shouldn't have to like manually send everyone a message on Slack or an email that says, hey, we got a new job, or we just made a placement. Why can't you set up automations that automatically inform everyone at the company that there's a new job to recruit for?
Beautiful.
Placement successfully made, or an interview request. We will work with you to set those automations up using tools like Zapier with other tools you use for free. So we'll give you all that consulting expertise for free, where if you run a 5% recruitment business, you don't know any of that shit, for the lack of a better word.
Yeah. It's the best word. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because I demoed a product last week, and they followed up again this week. So they have a really great product. I won't say who it is or what they do, but they have this great product. But then I'm like, they have this video on their website that I absolutely love of what the product can do. And I'm like, I want that. How do I get that? And they're like, oh yeah, our product can do that, but it'll cost you about $2,000 to $3,000 to get it. To get basically these analytics that you want. That's really what this tool does, is analytics. And so I love that you're making the customer experience the focus, because that was a complete deterrent. Like I was done after that, because it's like, you have this amazing tool, but you charge me to show me how to fully optimize it. That makes zero sense. So I love that you're focused.
Barrier to entry. And this is the big problem, right? With most technology, right? If you look at the average Salesforce implementation, which a company buys, it spends $100,000 buying Salesforce. It takes about 9 to 12 months for a Salesforce implementation at an enterprise to be successful from the time they pay the $100,000. So they don't get anything back for the $100,000 till like 8 or 9 months in. And you end up spending $2 in implementation consulting for every dollar you've actually spent on the subscription. So, so I studied information systems in college, and they sort of taught us this, right? Like when you implement SAP at your business, the average SAP HANA implementation can take 12 to 18 months. And for an average $200,000 subscription contract of SAP HANA, it costs about $350,000 to implement, in addition to the actual subscription. And the thing is, small businesses aren't cool with that.
Yeah, that's not even the adoption rate, because how many, let's get into recruiting tech and just in general, because we've seen a lot of leaps and bounds, but we've also seen a lot of missteps, in my opinion, where they're putting too much tech into things. And then again, when you come to recruiters and you think of like, what's something that recruiters hate doing? Well, it's admin work, which is typically what a tool is, right? So how do you feel like, do you feel technology comes into play with not only your system, but into like the industry in general?
Sure. And to go back to your point about tech like a CRM or an ATS or any, right, internal, external at an agency being an admin tool. Traditionally, how software was built was there was a business owner that owns, like, let's say a 20% firm. And they're like, I want to know what all of my people are doing, right?
Always, yes.
And I'm going to give all of them this tool that they can only log into from the office. And every time they make a placement, they have to put data into this tool. I don't give them commissions, right? So if you want commission, you got to put it in the tool. I've heard people say
I came from an agency like that. Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing in the world.
My agency had a call counter. Like, he literally would go into the closet and like come out and like read our stats on how many calls we did, how long they were, all that stuff.
That's ridiculous, right? And the problem with that is, as a recruiter, you're like, this tool is the shitty part of your day where you have to spend 20 minutes talking about or writing about what you did all day. And your company is paying you to do that. It's completely unproductive. It adds no value. It doesn't make you feel good. It just makes you feel like, what the hell? And the reason for that is that tool isn't really designed to help you gain anything. It's just designed to give your boss great dashboards.
That's so
and the
true.
problem with that is, because it's designed in that way, people don't use it, and thus the boss doesn't get accurate dashboards because recruiters or consultants tend to only add those candidates that got the job and now you need to collect a fee. So you just put those ones in. I remember talking to someone that works at a large pharma company where they use Workday, which is a large ATS and CRM system. They're like, we hire about, in that office, we hire 40 people a month. We get about 1,500 applicants and people we talk to. And we make 40 entries in Workday every month. We only make entries when we have to make an offer, because that's all they use the ATS for, because you need to make the offer through the ATS.
Yeah, skewed data.
So everything else happens offline. The Fortune 500 company has no clue who's applying, where they're applying from. Same with agencies. So the way to fix that is make sure the tool you use, and it doesn't have to be, I don't want to like be over like do self-marketing sort of thing, right?
Hey, if you got it, rock it.
You can use it. There's a bunch of tools that can do this. Recruit CRM can do it, but there's a few other tools that can do it too. You need to get a tool that actually saves your recruiters hours every week just by using it. And reports are just something that's extra that happen that you like. But you need to get the tool because your consultants are able to reach out to 2x the candidates or 2x the clients with the same level of personalization. Because another extreme you see now is tools that say, hey, you just put in 100 names and emails and we'll just automatically send them 200 emails a day for the next 20 days. That's spamming, and then that gets you flagged. And that's not what the technology is supposed to do. What the technology is supposed to do is, if you're able to reach out to 20 people and have 20 conversations today a day, or maybe less, the tool is supposed to help you get an extra 50% or 30% in conversations. So if a recruiter makes, let's say, builds $200,000 a year, and you can spend $1,000 or $2,000 getting a tool that helps them make 220, that's great. And that's what you want to focus on. The problem with most people buying tools is like, they're like, hey, how can I fire everyone in my company, take a database, put it into this tool, and make millions of dollars? I've had people ask me those questions.
I could see
I'm the agency shop where I don't pay anyone anything. I just have a database, and it emails these 1 million clients, and then some of them reply back and say, yes, I want candidates, and then I put jobs on them, then I email 1 million candidates. And then I automatically set up interviews, and I'm just sitting and the machine's rolling. I'm like, then you don't need a recruitment agency, right?
That's not a sustainable business model. That's not going to work long term. That may be what this individual might be doing.
It's not even. No, it didn't work for him at all. It's a fantasy. So this is good. Normally when people say this stuff, they've never done recruitment and they're starting a new business, and they're like, hey, I've done, and they're normally from the more technical side, right? They've never really done recruitment, and they're just started a business, and they're like, hey, I talk to all these recruiters, technical recruiters, recruiting engineers like me. They're so stupid, man. They don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go in and I'm going to write code and I'm going to automate all of this. And this recruiter makes 200 grand. I'm going to make like $1 million. Doesn't happen. Because it's a sales job, right? If you're not good at convincing the candidate, a high quality candidate, to go do an interview with a client, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And Sean, that's the
if you're on it. Yeah.
That's the hill we'll die on. Nobody thinks that recruiting is a strategy, a job. Like you said, all these engineers are like, I talk to these recruiters, they're so stupid. I could do that. I could do that job. And then it's really not that easy.
And they can't.
I've actually had an engineer tell me that a monkey could do my job, like literally to my face, tell me that. And I was like, huh.
And you know the crazy part? The best recruiting consultants make a lot more than the average engineer at a fan company.
Yep.
I know recruiters that make $1 million a year because a lot of them use our tech. Right? It's not that they make $1 million a year just because they use our tech. Maybe I'd like to attribute 10 or 20% of that extra $100,000 on the 900 on us, but like they're good already. They're killing it already. And that's more than the average engineer makes at Facebook or Google. Because when you're making $50,000 a placement, it adds up if you're good at your job.
Yep.
Yeah. And then your tool just makes them more efficient, so therefore they can make more money.
Yep. Yeah. Right. They can either make more money or they can just work less.
Well, there you go. Sold.
That's what I'm all for.
So go ahead, Brianna. I was going to ask a question about, I just would love to know, like, what's your biggest struggle starting Recruit CRM? What's your biggest struggle?
So
give us the real shit, Sean. Give us the real shit. Tell us the real.
Of course. So the biggest struggle was two things, right? The first thing was my dad's completely non-technical, but he knows the industry super well, right? Mm-hmm. I am technical as in I've studied information systems, but I'm basically a product manager. I'm not like a hardcore, back-end engineer. And if you want to build a full-blown SaaS application that people in different countries are going to give you money for with a payment portal, like everything baked in, you need to be a hardcore engineer. You can't be like a light engineer like me just writing SQL queries, right? So I can do code, I can write code, right? But I can't quite write production-grade code. But I can do pretty decent product management. So the hardest part in the beginning as a non-funded, right? Because even in India, 80 grand is not that much money, right? Especially when you're trying to launch a company. The biggest challenge was building something with folks that had never done it before. None of my engineers had ever worked at any other company before.
That's hard.
This was like their first gig, right? I had never built a SaaS app, right? And I had never had success previously, and my dad had success in a completely non-tech, pure recruitment setting. So the first year and a half, we really literally fumbled till we got a product out. So like every 6 months, like 6 months in, I was like, hey, are we even going to get anywhere, or we're just going to blow up our dad's money and I'm going to be like unemployed again? Right?
Right.
CEO of startup to unemployed, not fun, right? So, and that was probably the pressure that like just forced you to persevere and make it happen. Right.
Yeah.
Sink or swim.
But that was a very real stress, right? Going bankrupt is a pretty interesting stress point to have in your life.
Yeah.
Interesting is one way to put it. Yeah. It's like
scary, traumatizing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I had a pretty rough phase. So when the first start, and this has nothing to do with this, but when the first startup didn't work out, I was like really depressed because like when I like graduated from college in 2.5 years and like raised money from angels and gone to San Francisco to run a startup, I thought I was going to be in a Lambo in a couple of years, right? And then you like declare bankruptcy, and you bankrupt a startup basically with a lawyer, and then you fly back to India. I was so depressed. I had alopecia. I had stress-induced alopecia, so there were like little spots on my head and my face where hair stopped growing. So you went to the doctor, and I was like, "What's going on?" They put some steroid shots, right, like injections in your head and like face, and it was fixed. And I just had a pretty bad time during that phase because I also had a tumor in my neck, like the same freaking fucking time, like around those 3 months. I had to cut it open. We had to check if it was cancerous. It wasn't, but we still had to remove it, so we removed it. So that was just a shitty phase of my life.
Yeah.
Versus now when you're making millions of bucks, right? It's pretty contrasting. And the crazy thing is I wish this shit was made up, but I had stitches in my neck, right? Like, it wasn't fun.
Yeah, you know what, Sean? I need to go back to the fact that earlier in the conversation, you said you were lucky to have graduated in 2.5 years. No, you were just a badass and you worked really hard. So first of all, take that and, enjoy it. But you probably didn't feel it at the time.
Yeah. But I wasn't like a 4.0 student graduating in 2.5 years. I was a 3.8 that dropped to a cumulative GPA of 2.95 through graduation because I just made sure I got at least a C in every class so I could just finish the number of credits I needed to get the degree and get my student visa. Because I wasn't legally allowed to drop out because I'm an international student. So if I dropped out, I'd be shipped back to India.
Right.
So the only way for me to like get my company to sponsor my own visa was for me to like pass college.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I did.
But that's why you're a winner. You are a born entrepreneur. Like that's stuff that only entrepreneurs think to do. You know, most are just like, hey, I'm just going to chill here for 4 years, then I'll figure out who's going to get my visa and, you know, whatever. But I mean, you accomplished a lot. That takes grit. So I love also that you share the kind of the rags to riches, because like that's what it is. Like that's the hard work no one talks about.
It's not, you know, people love talking about rags to riches, but it's not, right? My dad was a CEO growing up, right? I can't pitch a rags to riches story. It's not fair, right? To a lot of people that do go through the real struggle. You know, I've had a good life growing up.
Sure.
I've had a comfortable life. We did work hard. We did work 80, 90 hours a week the few years that we were launching this, making this work and so on. But that's a lot easier than people that are struggling for food, right?
Sure. There's different degrees of rags to riches, but you were literally down and out. You were depressed. You were having a hard time where it's like you were a shooting star. And then now it's like, wow, like you kind of had like this reality check, where like, wow, my shit does stink. Okay, let's figure this out.
Well, yeah. And I agree with what you're saying, Brianna, with where you're like, I get what you're saying. The rags to riches, your health declined, Sean. I mean, you could have had a Lambo in your garage, but your health declined. Like, what the fuck does a Lambo matter at that point? You know? So it's kind of like, I get where you're going with that. It's like you did struggle.
And the shitty part was I didn't have a Lambo and my health was bad, which is worse than having a Lambo and your health being bad. So.
Money does cure wounds. I get it.
I just feel like having a Lambo in any scenario is not a bad thing. Even if I can't drive it, if I'm just looking at it, whatever, it's not a bad thing.
Just taking pictures with it.
Yeah, I'm just laying on top of it. Yeah, taking pictures of it. Exactly.
That's a different reality show. That's funny. Nice.
So,
good.
Go ahead, Brianna.
No, I was just going to say, like, I know that we're definitely over time on what our normal podcasts are, but there's some such great stuff here. Love that there's literally an actual database made by a recruiter, lifetime recruiter, and the father-son duo. That's just a cool story in general, but no, that like they get it, that doesn't need all the bells and whistles that like a monster bullhorn has, because the fact is like not a lot of people use it, and sometimes it's there just for looks or just for the CEO to feel better. I totally get that. I love that. And actually it reminds me of, do you know who MaxHire is? Like it's an old database.
Yeah, they were acquired by Bullhorn.
Exactly.
About 20 teams over from MaxHire by Bullhorn into us as well.
Yes. So like I was thinking of that when you were saying it, because I used to use MaxHire. I loved MaxHire. I would use, like, it was just so simple. Like you could just go in and rock out whatever you needed to do. And then they transferred me to Bullhorn and I was like, nope, give me MaxHire back. Like, can't do this. And they were like, but we're not upgrading it. I'm like, it's okay. I'll go there until you burn it down. So the fact that there's something like this that has come out and that kind of has, in my opinion, the MaxHire strategy, like less is more. And that, you know, there's no such thing that bots are not going to take over this industry. Bots can take over a few industries and do a few things, but not this one. Yeah. Love that.
Again, right? Like it's about using technology and leveraging automation to do the stuff that's boring.
Yeah.
Right. So, for example, instead of saying send a candidate these 10 emails back to back, and then if they reply, let me figure it out. You can create an email sequence, but when you create that email sequence, it needs to include actual physical touch points. For example, send this email, but then remind me to call this person. And if I call them and leave them a voicemail, remind me in 2 more days to send them a LinkedIn message and then email them again. So yeah, you're still taking out a couple emails from like the whole typing experience, and you're using templates and stuff to smoothen that out. But you're not just saying select 1,000 people, press a button, and just pray for like somebody to reply to you.
The spray and pray. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not getting you your $40,000 or $50,000 fee, right? That's not what the client is paying for, right? And as long as you're honest with your job and you're like, hey, I'm a recruiter. My job is finding the best talent for this job I've gotten, and if I do that right, I can make 40 grand in 2 weeks. If like that's a crazy amount of money, right? Think about it. An average recruiter, right? This is the only industry in the world, and as an agency recruiter, it's the only job in the world that you can do without any degree. You know, as long as you have a phone and a computer and a tongue to speak, and like basically just a mouth and
internet
to speak and communicate, you can make millions of dollars.
Amen.
And I know people that have made millions of dollars. Unlike maybe say becoming a professional like doctor or lawyer or CP or something where you need to get a certification degree. Here it's literally all you need to do is you just need to grind and hustle. And you need to be smart about it. And you can make a shitload of money.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? So it's an awesome industry. I love it. I'm going to work in this for the rest of my life. Right?
Love it. I hear you. Me too. I think we've all gotten chills during this conversation, just because it resonates so well. And I'm a diehard agency recruiter. We have a couple of different solutions, and now we start. We're training recruiters because it's like, let me train you to make millions of dollars. Let's do this. I've seen it. And I've had lots of employees that have hit that threshold. So it's cool. Love that. Let's Taylor, you want to take it away to end this out?
Sean. So you've listened to our episodes before, at the end, we hit them with a broke to boss tip of the week. So what would be your broke to boss tip for our listeners?
Yeah. If your listener is a recruiter, which I guess most of them are, right?
Yeah.
Take more pride in what you do, right? This is one of the most important jobs on the planet. You are helping talent move to the right opportunities. And if talent doesn't move to the right companies at the right time, you're not going to have innovations in different industries, from healthcare, pharmaceutical, space, everything, right? Like if Steve Jobs didn't get his designers and engineers, you wouldn't have iPods and iPhones and AirPods or whatever, right? And so a lot of times recruiters are pretty like, you could have a recruiter making $400,000 or $500,000 a year. And unlike a software engineer who's like, I'm a software engineer, I'm a lawyer, I went to Harvard Law School. I just do technical recruitment. Oh, you're just talking on the phone. No, I do recruitment, right? I kill it. You need to have a little more confidence, right? Most recruiters I talk to, especially in a public setting, never talk about their job with the absolute confidence and like, hey, I need to totally tell you about what I did today, right? And I got this company a new VP and it's going to change their direction or trajectory. Have more confidence, right?
Love.
And a lot of recruiters have confidence while talking to candidates or clients where they're pitching their service, but when they're by themselves or in a social circle, take more pride in what you do. It's impressive work.
Chills.
I love that. I love that. So many people, and Taylor, I'm sure you can relate to this. Like, I felt like it took like my parents at least 5 years to figure out what I did. And even then I'm like, do you really know what I do? Like, are you sure? And then it's like,
or something silly like, when will you get a real job?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, I've heard that. Totally heard that.
like, dude, this is a real job. I make 3 times what you do. Right? Like, it is as real as can be. A real job isn't like needing to dress up and drive and going to a corporate office, right? You could have a real job at your desk and you could make $1 million on your desk today. That's possible.
Woo!
Yeah,
I love that.
Your job is not optics. It's not the optics.
Yeah.
It's the dollar sign. Like you have. But I think with anything, it doesn't even just have to be recruiters. Take pride in what you do. But I love that you're saying that specific to recruiting because you're so right. When it's talking about what you do, like I even find myself in talking about what I do. It's like, you kind of have to downplay it because people don't really understand it. And it's not that hard to understand, but it's like, get a real job mentality. You guys are so right. I mean, take pride in what we do. What we do is hard. It's not easy. And it shapes some of the companies that change the world.
Exactly. Like, so, my ex-husband is a chef. So he gets invited in to talk at the kids' school. Go be a chef. I'm like, what about me? I've owned my own business for how long? Like, I'm a recruiter. It's like, nope, that's not relatable.
They're like, sit down. That's cute. Sit down.
What? And you know what? A career, and no offense to chefs, chefs are great, right? But a professional recruiter over their career makes far more money than the average professional chef.
Of course.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Right? But chefs are like, oh my God, he's a chef. He must be awesome. Oh, you're a recruiter. Oh, you're just a sleazy salesperson. And that's not cool. Right?
No.
That's a big problem.
It's not cool.
His impersonations are the best, by the way. His impersonations, the tone, the way your voice, like, I love it. The drama and the impersonations you do when you're talking about different people is amazing, by the way.
My mother's an actress that produces movies in India, so I have like a little bit of I can't help it.
Nice.
It's just that the drama is like flowing through.
I'm so pumped. I feel like picketing, but I don't know where I'm going to picket. It's like, give us respect.
Take pride in what you do. Mic drop. Take pride in what you do. I love that. Absolutely love that. And I think our listeners will too. And this is such an empowering episode that I didn't realize was going to be, but it actually really is. Yeah. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate it. We love learning about you and Recruit CRM and why recruiters are fucking amazing. You didn't know it, but thank you. Yeah, like this is going to set the tone for our day. Let's go kick some ass, Brianna.
Yeah, I love it. I'm super, super, super pumped. And now I want to talk to your dad. Let's get him on here. I want to hear all of his crazy stories. Thank you, Sean.
He'll have a lot of them. He'll have a lot of them. So before he went to B school and went to start working at Randstad, he was in the anti-terrorist squad.
God. Whoa.
In the army. So he's actually killed terrorists and stuff, like actual, like.
Wow.
So he has fun stories to talk about.
Wow, that's a totally different direction I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has pre-recruitment stories that are also fun, and then recruitment stories that are fun.
I'm in for all of it, Sean. We need him on.
It sounds like we need to just shoot the shit with him for a little bit and learn all kinds of things. But
especially because he's old school recruiter. Like that's the stuff. Like I got half of my career is old school recruiting, and now it's kind of funny now. But anyways, thanks so much, everyone. Thank you for listening. Every Tuesday for sure we drop a new episode, but this one was an extra special one with Sean, the CEO of Recruit CRM.
Boom, boom.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.